Backpacks, binders, and a new pair of shoes. Those items might sound like back-to-school essentials. Now, instead, they are serving a darker alternative purpose: self-defense against an active shooter. This is the reality that kids are up against these days, and one that is being portrayed in a new public service announcement. We should warn you that what you're about to watch is chilling.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These colorful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I need for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
These scissors really come in handy in art class.
These colored pencils, too.
These new socks? They can be a real lifesaver.
I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
Joining me now is Tony Montalto. He lost his 14-year-old daughter, Gina, in the Parkland school shooting. He is also the president of Stand with Parkland, a group of parents and spouses of the victims. Tony, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
I got to tell you, Tony, I've watched this a number of times, and it smacks me every single time. It does not hold back. It's incredibly powerful. In the time since you've released it, have you seen an impact, and what impact do you think it can have?
Well, I'll say for the families who lost somebody in the Parkland shooting, it was quite a shocking video. But we live through that every day. The fact that it shocked some other people in this nation is actually, I think, what it was designed to do. It's designed to get people's attention, and we need to focus our attention on school safety yet again.
And something else that your organization does is you arm parents and students and schools essentially with a checklist, a list of questions that parents should be asking of their children's school. For example, does the school have an active shooter policy? Does the school train all staff members for active shooter scenarios? And those are just a couple of those questions. It's horrifying that we have to ask them at all, but if any of these schools answer no to any of these questions that you're suggesting, what should parents be doing?
Well, these questions are not the end of the conversation. They're really the beginning of the conversation. We know that it takes numerous avenues to help us solve this problem. Stand with Parkland believes in securing the campus, better mental health screening and support, and finally, responsible firearms ownership. All of those things failed us that day. These questions are based on the hours of testimony that we've witnessed from the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Commission here in Florida, from reading some of the federal report on school safety that came out. These are valuable resources to get parents involved. We need involved parents to demand that our nation's school administrators and school boards pay attention to the safety of our children. It's not just about education anymore. If our children and our spouses fail to come home from school, the graduation rates don't matter. The reading level doesn't matter. We need to keep everyone safe first.
Tony, gun reform is something that's been taken up not just on Capitol Hill, but also on the campaign trail. Lots of 2020 candidates talking about it as they are on the stump. Let's take a listen.
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Tony, Beto O'Rourke there really well ahead of the pack in terms of the Democratic field. And when you hear O'Rourke saying things like that, hell yes, we want to take away your AR-15s, do you think that will change the conversation in any constructive way?
Well, I think he garnered some publicity for himself. But quite frankly, we need to start bringing people together to solve this problem. statements like that tend to divide people. They tend to get the pro-firearms folks running one way, and we get the anti-firearms folks running the other way. And frankly, this is not a Republican problem. It's not a Democratic problem. This is an American problem. And we need to find a way to come together to solve it. It'll take the best minds in this country and all of us listening to one another, having a discussion, and then finding the consensus position that we can carry forward into policy changes or law changes in order to keep all Americans safe, including our students and teachers at school.
Yeah, that's the argument that a lot of his Democratic opponents was also saying, that it plays into the hands of people who don't want to see gun reform. But we are seeing reform, Tony, in the private sector. We now have stores like Walmart, the biggest retailer in the country, Publix, Kroger, CVS. They're asking customers to no longer openly carry their guns in these states where, in their stores rather, in states where open carry is legal. Do you think that that's an effective change?
Well, I think, again, it's going to take all of us to get involved. We're happy to see the private sector start to take some leadership role. We're hopeful that, quite frankly, the president will take more of a leadership role, get Congress, tell Congress what he needs, and then Congress needs to provide the president bills to sign into law. But we're very happy to see the private sector begin to get involved. Right after the Parkland shooting, we saw Dick's Sporting Goods make a change to their firearms policy, and we are greatly appreciative of all who want to provide positive change for this country.
All right, Tony Montalto, thanks so much for joining me.